It was a day like any other, yet it became the day that would forever change the course of our lives. My daughter, only 3 years old, had been full of energy that seemed boundless. A little whirlwind who could never sit still and whose curiosity often got the better of her. Every week we took her to dance lessons, hoping to channel some of that energy into movement, rhythm, and creativity, thinking that this would help her burn off the endless supply of enthusiasm she carried. I remember that day vividly. She was exhausted on the drive home, sleeping peacefully in the back of the truck beside her older brother, a rare moment of calm that my husband and I silently cherished. The sun was dipping low, the streets quiet in that late afternoon lull, and we were almost home when everything changed in an instant. Another car turned left without enough time to avoid a collision, slamming into the side of our truck directly, beside where our daughter was sitting. In that horrifying moment, I could hardly process the impact, my mind numb and heart pounding. My husband and I were miraculously unharmed physically, yet we immediately knew something was terribly wrong. When we looked to the back seat, our daughter, our little whirlwind, our precious girl, had been hit in the door's path and lay still, her small body crumpled against the seat. The sirens, the blaring horns, and the chaotic swirl of onlookers faded into a haze as paramedics arrived, carefully lifting her from the wreckage and rushing her to the hospital. The hours that followed were a blur of fear, waiting, and disbelief as we sat in the sterile, cold hospital room for 2 days, staring at monitors, listening to beeping machines, and praying for any sign that she was alive. When the surgeon finally came out, we learned that she had survived, but the news was bittersweet. Her spinal cord had been damaged severely, leaving her paralyzed from the neck down, and the prognosis was devastating. My mind spun with questions I could not answer, emotions I could not process, and a grief so raw it left me trembling. How could I explain to a 3-year-old that her world had changed forever, that she would never run again, never feel the swing beneath her, never climb or play like the other children she adored? Each day became a challenge, not just physically, helping her with basic movements and therapy, but emotionally, as we watched her cry silently when her brother went to the swings, when other children ran and played, and when she felt the weight of being different in the eyes of strangers who stared without understanding. My husband, strong and steadfast in many ways, retreated off into the garage, and though I thought it was for solitude, I later realized that his silence hid a determination, a secret plan to bring hope and joy back to our daughter's life in a way that would transcend the limitations of her injury. Nights were sleepless, filled with whispered reassurances, tears, and the quiet hum of machines that monitored her fragile life. Therapies were exhausting, emotionally and physically taxing. With each small milestone a monumental achievement, each tiny improvement a victory celebrated with tears and laughter. Over the weeks, months, the pain of seeing our little girl struggle was constant, yet it was tempered by fleeting moments of courage, smiles, and the resilience that shone through her eyes even when her body could not follow. It was in this landscape of despair and fragile hope that my husband began designing something extraordinary, a secret project that took months of careful planning, creativity, and love. He observed her every reaction, learned what brought a flicker of joy to her eyes, and worked tirelessly to craft a gift that would not only bring laughter and light but also allow her, if only for a brief time, to experience the freedom she had lost, to feel normal, and to reclaim a sense of independence that had been cruelly stolen from her by that accident. Every detail mattered, the ergonomics to accommodate her condition, the way she could interact with it safely, and the way it could bring her back into the world she loved, if only momentarily. Then came her birthday, a day that had been overshadowed by pain and longing for a year, but this time it was different. As she unwrapped the gift, her face transformed, the first genuine smile and laughter in a year lighting up the room, bringing tears to our eyes, filling the house with a joy so profound that it temporarily erased the shadow of the accident. In that moment, all the months of fear, therapy, sleepless nights, and silent tears were validated in the laughter of our daughter, and for a little while she felt whole, free, and utterly herself again. That day marked not just a birthday, but a turning point, a miracle crafted by love, patience, and unyielding hope, and it was a reminder that even in the darkest moments, human resilience and the power of love could create light, joy, and moments of true happiness where despair once seemed absolute. The memory of the accident would always linger, but now it was accompanied by the knowledge that we could still create extraordinary moments, that life, even altered, could be filled with miracles, laughter, and the indomitable spirit of a little girl who refused to be defined by her paralysis. The days and months following the accident were a test of endurance, patience, and emotional resilience for our entire family as we confronted the stark reality that our vibrant, energetic daughter now faced a world constrained by paralysis. And each moment of her care demanded unwavering attention, love, and creativity. From the moment she was stabilized in the hospital, we became acutely aware of how fragile life could be, and how even a few seconds could alter the course of an entire existence. Every movement, every attempt at independence required careful planning and constant supervision, and the emotional weight of knowing that her body could no longer support her natural curiosity was almost unbearable. Therapy sessions became the central focus of our lives, a mixture of hope, frustration, and painstaking progress. As specialists worked tirelessly to maximize whatever function remained and to prevent secondary complications that could arise from her immobility, physical therapists introduced exercises designed to maintain strength, prevent muscle atrophy, and stimulate the nervous system, while occupational therapists helped her adapt to a world that no longer accommodated her as before, teaching her to use assistive devices, explore alternative methods of play, and find moments of joy within strict limitations. We navigated a labyrinth of medical appointments, hospital visits, and consultations with specialists, all while attempting to maintain a semblance of normalcy for our other child, who was suddenly adjusting to a home life dominated by careful routines, caution, and the constant presence of medical equipment. The emotional strain was immense. Our daughter's frustration at her limitations manifested in tears, tantrums, and a quiet resignation at times, and watching her watch her brother climb, run, and play freely while she remained confined to a wheelchair brought a profound grief that was nearly physical, pressing down on every member of our family. Nights were long, filled with the hum of breathing machines, whispered reassurances, and the silent cries of parents who questioned what could have been done differently, wondering if a mere second could have prevented the accident, and grappling with the helplessness of being unable to restore her body to what it once was. My husband's hidden pain, revealed in quiet moments in the garage, became a source of both empathy and determination, as we realized that his sorrow was fueling a resolve to create something extraordinary, a way to bring her joy despite the permanent limitations imposed by her injury. Each therapy milestone, no matter how small, became a moment of celebration. Even the slightest improvement, a movement of a finger, a shift in posture, a laugh shared during an exercise, was met with cheers, tears, and the reaffirmation that resilience could manifest in subtle, profound ways. We adapted our home, installing supportive devices, ramps, and specialized equipment, all carefully tailored to allow her to experience independence where possible and comfort where necessary, while simultaneously striving to maintain a nurturing, playful environment that encouraged her imagination and creativity despite physical constraints. Emotional support became as critical as physical therapy. We spent hours reading stories, engaging in games, singing songs, and creating activities that allowed her mind and spirit to soar even when her body could not, teaching her that while the accident had altered her physical reality, it could not define her joy, creativity, or capacity for love. Her laughter, when it appeared, became a beacon of hope, illuminating the hard work, sacrifice, and perseverance of every parent, sibling, and therapist who surrounded her, and each smile, no matter how fleeting, reminded us that life's miracles often arrive in small, incremental moments rather than dramatic gestures. Slowly, she began to adjust emotionally to her new reality. Moments of frustration and sadness were balanced by determination, curiosity, and a growing understanding of The ways she could still engage with the world, explore new interests, and participate in activities adapted to her needs. The social impact was equally profound. Interactions with peers became challenging as children her age struggled to understand her limitations, stared or treated her differently, and we had to carefully navigate her social inclusion, teaching empathy and awareness to friends and neighbors while shielding her from unnecessary shame or discomfort. Each birthday, holiday, and milestone became an opportunity not only to celebrate her life but to reinforce the message that her spirit, courage, and creativity mattered more than any physical limitation. In these months of recovery, therapy, and emotional growth, our family learned lessons about patience, unconditional love, perseverance, and the extraordinary resilience of the human spirit as we witnessed a child who, despite her physical paralysis, radiated a determination to live fully, to laugh when possible, and to embrace the fleeting joys of each day. And even as we confronted tears, setbacks, and moments of despair, the memory of her small victories, the first laugh, the first successful movement during therapy, the sparkle of curiosity in her eyes, remained a constant reminder that hope, love, and ingenuity could create moments of miracle even in the shadow of tragedy, setting the stage for what would ultimately become an extraordinary birthday surprise. Months in the making, that would temporarily lift her from the limitations of her paralysis and allow her to feel, if only briefly, a sense of freedom, normalcy, and pure childhood joy. As the months crawled by after the accident, our lives revolved around therapy schedules, medical appointments, and careful monitoring of her daily needs. But my husband quietly embarked on a secret project that would culminate in the most extraordinary birthday our daughter could imagine, a surprise that demanded meticulous planning, ingenuity, and the absolute devotion of a father determined to bring joy to his paralyzed child. While I focused on the daily care, emotional support, and the relentless logistics of keeping our daughter engaged and happy despite her limitations, my husband spent countless hours researching, designing, and building a system that would allow her, even if temporarily, to feel free again, to move, laugh, and experience the exhilaration of independence that had been cruelly stripped from her life by a momentary accident. He analyzed every detail of her abilities, her reactions, and the smallest gestures that brought her a smile, integrating that knowledge into a plan that would not only accommodate her paralysis but enhance her experience in a way that was safe, engaging, and magical. There were late nights in the garage, sketches scattered across workbenches, tools clanging, and quiet frustration, but always tempered by the unyielding vision of the smile he would see on her face, the laughter that would fill our home, and the momentary escape from the confines of a body that had been damaged yet a spirit that remained unbroken. He consulted with therapists, read about adaptive technologies, and tested prototypes in secret, ensuring that everything was perfectly tailored to her size, strength, and comfort, often keeping the details hidden from me and everyone else to maintain the surprise. All the while, our daughter's routine remained steady, marked by therapy sessions, playtime adapted to her abilities, and moments of frustration and triumph, and we watched her navigate her world with resilience, her emotions fluctuating between sadness at what she could no longer do and joy at small victories she still managed to achieve. Her third birthday approached, and the anticipation built quietly in the background. My husband's secret project had reached a point where he could finally prepare the surprise, testing every mechanism, ensuring safety, and imagining her reaction with a careful balance of hope and anxiety. On the morning of her birthday, the house buzzed with the quiet energy of preparation. Decorations carefully placed, gifts wrapped, and the system ready to be revealed. Though our daughter had no idea of the transformative experience awaiting her. When she finally approached the gift, sleepy-eyed yet curious, my husband unveiled the months of effort, innovation, and love, revealing a creation that allowed her to experience mobility and independence in ways that her injured body had not permitted for over a year, immediately filling the room with laughter, wide eyes, and an uncontainable joy that lit up her face and reminded us all of the miracle of her survival, the resilience of her spirit, and the extraordinary power of parental love and determination to restore a child's sense of normalcy and delight against the odds. That single moment, the first genuine smile, the peals of laughter, the gleam of wonder in her eyes erased, if only temporarily, the weight of the past year, creating a memory that would forever mark a turning point in our lives, demonstrating that even in the shadow of tragedy, hope, love, and unwavering dedication could create miracles, redefine limitations, and allow a young child, even one confined by paralysis, to feel alive, free, and blissfully, joyfully normal once more. The moment she realized what had been created for her, our daughter's reaction was unlike anything we had seen since the accident. Her eyes widened in pure astonishment, a mixture of disbelief, joy, and wonder illuminating her small face, and then, slowly, as she began to interact with the adaptive gift my husband had painstakingly designed, a sound emerged, a laugh so pure, so unguarded, that it brought tears to my eyes, tears I hadn't allowed myself to shed in months. For the first time since the accident, the house was filled with the authentic, spontaneous laughter of our daughter, echoing through rooms that had previously been marked by cautious movements, whispered encouragements, and the quiet tension of parents constantly vigilant over her every gesture. My husband and I exchanged glances, silently acknowledging the culmination of months of hidden effort, sleepless nights, and emotional strain, as the gift not only enabled her to move and play in ways she hadn't for over a year, but also allowed her to reclaim a sense of freedom, independence, and normalcy that had been stolen from her in a single, life-altering moment. Watching her, I noticed the subtle shifts in her expressions, the sparkle in her eyes, the curve of her smile, the quick movements of her fingers, the way she leaned forward with curiosity and engagement, and I realized that this was more than just a toy or a piece of adaptive technology. It was a bridge back to childhood, a vessel for joy, and a tangible representation of hope, love, and perseverance. Her brother, initially cautious about sharing attention, quickly joined in the celebration, laughing alongside her, marveling at her newfound capabilities, and for the first time in months, I witnessed genuine sibling play that transcended the limitations of her injury, creating a moment of familial unity and happiness that felt almost sacred. Extended family and friends who had gathered for the birthday watched in awe, many moved to tears, understanding that what they were witnessing was not merely a birthday surprise, but the manifestation of love, dedication, and a miracle of human ingenuity and parental devotion. The atmosphere was electric with joy, punctuated by repeated bursts of laughter, squeals of excitement, and the constant movement of our daughter exploring, testing, and discovering the limits of her new freedom, while we, her parents, felt a profound sense of relief, fulfillment, and gratitude that all the effort, worry, and fear of the past year had led to this transformative moment. This celebration extended beyond the typical rituals of cake and gifts. It was an emotional catharsis, a day-long reaffirmation of resilience, hope, and family solidarity, where every laugh, every movement, every squeal of delight served as a testament to the enduring power of love, human ingenuity, and determination to overcome adversity. Throughout the day, I noticed subtle changes in our daughter's demeanor, the confidence in her movements, the lightness in her posture, the way she initiated play rather than waiting for assistance, and I understood that this single event, crafted with months of care and ingenuity, had not only provided temporary mobility, but had sparked a resurgence of spirit, curiosity, and emotional well-being, proving that even in the aftermath of tragedy, miracles are possible when guided by love, patience, and relentless dedication. That day, the house became a sanctuary of joy, hope, and shared triumph, and as the evening settled, I watched her finally fall asleep with a smile on her face, a serenity in her breathing, and a light in her eyes that I hadn't seen in over a year, knowing that the gift of laughter, independence, and normalcy she had experienced would echo in her spirit, guiding her through therapy, daily challenges, and future milestones, forever marking her birthday as the day when miracles became tangible. And joy, temporarily regained, reminded us all of the boundless potential of love, determination, and human creativity to transform even the darkest circumstances into moments of pure, unadulterated happiness. In the weeks following the birthday miracle, the atmosphere in our home shifted in subtle yet profound ways. as our daughter's newfound sense of independence and joy began to ripple outward, touching every aspect of our family life and reshaping our interactions, routines, and emotional connections. Each morning she woke with a spark of excitement that had been absent for over a year, her eyes alight with curiosity and her small body eager to explore the adaptive gift that had given her a taste of normalcy, even if only temporarily, and with each session she grew more confident in her abilities, experimenting with movements, initiating playful interactions, and discovering her own limits in a safe, supportive environment. Her laughter, once rare and fragile, became more frequent and genuine, a continuous reminder to my husband and me that resilience is often cultivated through hope, patience, and moments of empowerment, and that even the smallest victories can have monumental emotional significance for a child whose life had been suddenly and drastically altered. We began to notice changes in her demeanor beyond physical movements. She smiled more readily, sought social interaction with greater ease, and displayed a curiosity about her surroundings that had been muted by the trauma and limitations imposed by her paralysis. Therapy sessions, which had previously been marked by frustration, resistance, and tears, now incorporated bursts of play and experimentation, as she approached each exercise with renewed determination and joy, motivated not only by the tangible sense of movement she could achieve through her adaptive equipment, but also by the emotional validation of being able to do something independently and successfully. Family routines evolved as well. Meal times, playtimes, and even quiet moments together became imbued with a lightness and warmth that had been missing, as her brother and parents alike adjusted to the new rhythm of her abilities and celebrated the incremental successes, however small, that reflected her courage and perseverance. We spent hours exploring creative activities adapted to her mobility, reading stories together, engaging in arts and crafts, and encouraging imaginative play that allowed her mind to soar while her body learned to navigate its new limitations, reinforcing a sense of autonomy and agency that had been threatened by the accident. The emotional healing of the family was as important as her physical progress. My husband and I processed months of fear, guilt, and helplessness, acknowledging the weight of responsibility we carried while simultaneously embracing the joy and pride sparked by her resilience, and this collective healing created a stronger bond between all of us, transforming the trauma into a shared narrative of perseverance, ingenuity, and hope. Socially, we noticed subtle improvements as well. She interacted more comfortably with friends and family members, participated in group activities adapted to her abilities, and demonstrated an emotional maturity beyond her years, having endured adversity and emerged with a renewed sense of confidence and curiosity. Her brother, inspired by her courage, became more attentive, empathetic, and involved, learning to play alongside her in ways that respected her limitations while fostering connection, fun, and sibling camaraderie that deepened their bond and helped heal the invisible scars left by the year of restricted mobility and isolation. The household, once tense with anxiety and worry, began to hum with laughter, creativity, and optimism, each day marked by small achievements that collectively transformed our perception of what life could look like after tragedy, and through it all, my husband's ingenuity and unwavering commitment shone brightly. The birthday gift, initially a single moment of liberation, became an ongoing source of empowerment, enabling her to regain confidence, experience joy, and build emotional resilience, proving that love, patience, and relentless dedication can restore not just a child's happiness, but the emotional equilibrium of an entire family, teaching us all that even in the wake of life-altering adversity, miracles are possible, laughter can return, and the bonds a family can grow stronger through shared struggle, triumph, and the simple, profound act of helping a little girl feel, for the first time in over a year, truly alive, capable, and delightfully normal. In the months that followed her birthday miracle, our daughter's journey of recovery and adaptation became increasingly remarkable, not only in terms of physical progress facilitated by her adaptive gift, but also in her growing emotional resilience, and the evolution of our family dynamics as we adjusted to a new normal that balanced hope, practicality, and continuous love. Each day brought new challenges and small victories. Therapy sessions, which had previously been exhausting and fraught with tears, gradually transformed into opportunities for experimentation, laughter, and self-expression as she approached. Exercises with a combination of determination, curiosity, and delight, motivated by the memory of her birthday experience and the empowerment it provided. Her body, once painfully restricted, began to respond with incremental improvements, subtle shifts in posture, improved control of her upper limbs, and the ability to engage in play with greater independence while her mind and spirit flourished. In tandem, embracing the sense of agency that had been nearly extinguished in the aftermath of the accident, we adapted our home to support her growing capabilities, creating spaces where she could move safely, explore creatively, and interact with her environment and family members in meaningful ways, integrating technology, customized supports, and playful elements that encouraged learning, mobility, and social engagement. The family unit itself strengthened in profound ways. Her brother, once a bystander to her limitations, became an active participant in her daily experiences, learning to navigate caregiving with empathy, patience, and humor, while my husband and I developed a synchronized approach to parenting that combined meticulous planning, emotional support, and spontaneous moments of joy, fostering an environment where our daughter's successes were celebrated and her setbacks met with encouragement, rather than despair. Socially, she began re-engaging with peers, cautiously at first, in controlled environments that emphasized inclusion, understanding, and empathy, and each positive interaction reinforced her confidence, teaching her that while her body had changed, her ability to connect, communicate, and experience friendship remained intact. Emotional resilience became as critical as physical progress. We encouraged her to express frustration, disappointment, and curiosity freely, validating her emotions while gently guiding her toward constructive coping strategies, and over time, she developed an inner strength that allowed her to face challenges with a combination of courage, creativity, and optimism. Milestones that might have seemed trivial before, the ability to feed herself, engage in a craft project, or manipulate objects independently, became monumental celebrations, marking not just progress in physical therapy but victories in self-esteem, autonomy, and emotional empowerment. Nights remained quiet and contemplative at times, filled with whispered reassurances, gentle check-ins, and reflective conversations between my husband and me as we acknowledged both the fragility and resilience of life, the enduring impact of parental love, and the remarkable adaptability of a child's spirit. Gradually, our daughter became a source of inspiration to everyone around her, demonstrating that even after life-altering adversity, growth, joy, and self-confidence could flourish when nurtured with patience, creativity, and unwavering dedication. School interactions, playdates, and public outings became opportunities to teach others about empathy, inclusion, and the power of support, while also providing our daughter with chances to assert independence, test boundaries, and experience success on her own terms. The adaptive gift from her birthday, initially a singular moment of liberation, evolved into an ongoing tool for development, a catalyst for daily victories, and a symbol of her resilience, reminding us all that love, perseverance, and ingenuity can transform hardship into opportunity, despair into hope, and limitation into a stage for triumph, laughter, and profound family bonding. Each day reinforced the lesson that miracles are not always instantaneous or grandiose. They often manifest in incremental progress, fleeting moments of joy, and the quiet strength of a child determined to reclaim her life, inspiring everyone around her to witness, celebrate, and participate in the beauty of resilience, hope, and the indomitable human spirit. As time progressed, our daughter's journey extended beyond physical therapy and home adaptation into the intricate realm of social reintegration, where each interaction, friendship, and public experience became a test of confidence, resilience, and emotional growth, not only for her but for our entire family, as we collectively navigated the complexities of normal life after a life-altering accident. Initially, outings were fraught with anxiety, careful planning, and the constant vigilance of monitoring her surroundings and ensuring safety. But with each successful trip to the park, the library, or social gatherings, her courage blossomed, her independence expanded, and the invisible barriers created by her paralysis began to crumble under the weight of determination, parental support, and the adaptive technologies that had become extensions of her capabilities. School interactions, once a source of stress and isolation, transformed into arenas of empowerment as teachers, peers, and administrators learned to accommodate her needs while simultaneously nurturing her social skills, fostering inclusion, and celebrating her unique strengths, which ranged from creativity and intelligence to humor and an indomitable spirit that refused to be constrained by her physical limitations. Her confidence grew exponentially, visible in the way she initiated conversations, engaged in cooperative play, and expressed herself with clarity and courage, and in these moments, the months of struggle, therapy, and silent observation paid off, revealing a young girl who had reclaimed not only her mobility in small but meaningful ways, but also her identity, self-esteem, and joy. Within the family, the transformation was equally profound. My husband and I had evolved into partners in a delicate balance of caregiving, advocacy, and encouragement, learning to celebrate incremental progress while managing emotional strain. And our son, previously adjusting to the reality of a sibling with a disability, developed empathy, patience, and leadership as he actively participated in helping his sister navigate the world, strengthening the bonds between them and fostering a sense of teamwork, understanding, and shared accomplishment that permeated every aspect of home life. Extended family, friends, and our community also became part of this journey, offering support, adapting expectations, and witnessing the remarkable resilience and growth of our daughter, who had transformed from a child defined by limitation and loss into a source of inspiration, joy, and hope, demonstrating through her actions that adversity could be met with creativity, courage, and unyielding determination. Milestones that had once seemed trivial, reading a book independently, participating in a group activity, or laughing spontaneously with peers, became profound celebrations of life, ability, and perseverance, each small achievement reinforcing her confidence and the message that her spirit was unbroken. The cumulative effect of these experiences reshaped our family dynamics. We moved from a state of constant fear, anxiety, and limitation into one of cautious optimism, joy, and a renewed sense of purpose, learning to appreciate the beauty in incremental progress, the power of love and healing, and the potential for human resilience to triumph even in the face of life-altering challenges. Through this period, our daughter internalized lessons of self-reliance, social engagement, and emotional strength, while we, as parents, absorbed the profound understanding that caregiving, patience, and inventive problem-solving could transform despair into hope, confinement into freedom, and limitation into opportunity. By the end of this phase, she was not merely participating in life. She was thriving within it, using her adaptive tools and personal resilience to explore, connect, and assert herself, while the family as a whole celebrated a metamorphosis from trauma and fear into a cohesive unit defined by love, mutual respect, understanding, and the unwavering commitment to nurturing a child who had endured immense adversity yet emerged with a spirit unbroken, a mind curious, and a heart ready to embrace life fully once again, proving to all of us that the combination of empathy, creativity, dedication, and patience can cultivate not only recovery but profound growth, transforming tragedy into triumph and ordinary experiences into extraordinary moments of joy, learning, and familial cohesion. As our daughter continued to grow, both physically and emotionally, the effects of the birthday miracle and the months of dedicated adaptation became increasingly evident, shaping not only her development but also the enduring dynamics and emotional resilience of our entire family, creating a legacy of hope, perseverance, and love that would influence every aspect of our lives for years to come. Over time, she learned to approach challenges with a remarkable sense of determination and creativity, leveraging her adaptive tools, therapies, and personal ingenuity to participate in activities that once seemed impossible, and in doing so, she discovered a profound sense of self-efficacy, independence, and pride that reshaped her identity from that of a child defined by limitation to one defined by courage, adaptability, and resilience. Each day became an opportunity to explore new skills, refine old ones, and assert her place in the world, while our family adjusted its rhythms and expectations to celebrate progress in all forms, from subtle improvements in movement to moments of unbridled laughter and engagement with peers. Her social life flourished gradually. Friendships were strengthened, new connections were forged, and interactions with classmates and community members allowed her to navigate both inclusion and autonomy, demonstrating to everyone around her that her physical limitations could never diminish the fullness of her personality, intellect, or joy. At home, the bonds between siblings deepened as her brother learned empathy, cooperation, and responsibility in ways he could not have experienced otherwise, creating a dynamic of mutual support, play, and affection that enriched both of their lives and offered daily reminders of resilience, patience, and love. My husband and I, too, evolved as caregivers and partners, finding balance between vigilance, encouragement, and allowing moments of independence while also integrating moments of spontaneity, creativity, and celebration into our daily routines to nurture our daughter's confidence and joy. Extended family and friends witnessed her journey, often moved to tears by her courage and determination, and the story of her accident, recovery, and triumph became a living testament to the extraordinary potential of human love, ingenuity, and perseverance, inspiring not only those directly involved, but also anyone who learned of her resilience. As the years passed, milestones that might have once seemed ordinary, attending school events, engaging in hobbies, participating in family activities, took on extraordinary significance, marking victories not just of mobility but of spirit, autonomy, and social integration, reminding us all that progress is often measured not in grand leaps but in steady, determined steps, and that a single moment of intentional love, such as the birthday surprise, can catalyze profound, lasting change. The emotional impact on the family was equally enduring. We grew stronger, more empathetic, and more connected, understanding that adversity could either fracture or fortify bonds, and in our case, it forged unbreakable ties, resilience, and a shared commitment to nurturing not just survival but flourishing, joy, and fulfillment. In reflection, the accident, while devastating, became a catalyst for transformation, highlighting the power of hope, ingenuity, and unconditional love to heal emotional wounds, rebuild confidence, and create a life rich in meaning, joy, and human connection. Our daughter's laughter, courage, and progress became symbols of triumph over tragedy, and each day she continued to inspire all of us, proving that miracles are not always instantaneous but often cultivated through patience, dedication, and a refusal to let circumstance define possibility, leaving a lasting legacy of resilience, joy, and the unwavering truth that even in the darkest times, love and hope can illuminate a path to recovery, empowerment, and profound human happiness.